Welcome back to the channel Valuable Coins HD, coin hunters, collectors, and everyone fascinated by the hidden treasures of American currency. Today's story is one that proves even the most ordinary-looking coins can have extraordinary secrets. So grab your magnifying glass, because we're diving deep into the world of the 2017 Washington State Quarter Dollar, a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket, purse, or change jar right now. Now you might be wondering, how can a 2017 quarter be worth anything more than 25 cents? It's not that old. It's not made of gold. It doesn't sparkle. But that's exactly what makes this discovery so unbelievable. This coin teaches us a valuable lesson: never underestimate the power of rarity, history, and a little minting mystery. First, let's set the stage. The year is 2017. As part of the U.S. Mint's America the Beautiful Quarters program, new coins were being released to celebrate national parks and historic sites from each state. This year, Washington State got its moment in the spotlight with a design that featured Mount Rainier National Park, a breathtaking landscape known for its icy peaks and untamed wilderness. On the back of this quarter, you'll find a stunning image of a mountain goat perched high on the cliffs, symbolizing both the majesty and resilience of Washington's natural beauty. On the front of the coin, of course, is the legendary face of George Washington, a familiar sight to all Americans. But beyond that familiar portrait lies a mystery few people ever notice. You see, not all Washington quarters are created equal. Some are just a little different, and those tiny differences can make a huge impact. Here's where it gets fascinating. While millions of 2017 Washington State quarters were minted, only a very small number came off the presses with certain rare and unusual flaws. These are known as minting errors, and believe it or not, collectors absolutely love them. Let's talk about some of the rarest and most valuable types of errors that appeared on the 2017 Washington quarters. One of the most coveted mistakes is called a double die error. This happens when the coin's design is struck twice, but slightly off from the first strike. The result is a ghost-like duplication of the date, the letters, or even parts of the image. It's subtle, but once you see it, you'll never unsee it. And collectors are willing to pay top dollar for it. Then there are off-center strikes, where the entire image of the coin is printed in the wrong place, sometimes pushed so far to one side that part of the design is missing altogether. The more off-center the image, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. Another rare mistake is the clipped planchet error, where a portion of the coin appears to be bitten off due to a mishap during production. It looks like a chunk is missing from the coin's edge, and yes, these types of errors are real, certified, and can be incredibly valuable. But perhaps the most exciting type of error is the wrong planchet error, when a quarter is mistakenly struck on a coin blank meant for a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. These are ultra rare, but they do happen, and when they do, their value skyrockets. And here's something else that makes the 2017 Washington State quarter so fascinating: a select number of these coins were released from the West Point Mint, marked with a tiny W mint mark. These coins weren't widely circulated and were part of a special collector promotion. Finding one of these W quarters is like striking modern-day gold. Now, let's talk condition. Coin collectors grade coins based on their preservation, and they're always hunting for mint state coins, which are coins that show no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration. A 2017 Washington quarter in mint state 67 or higher is already valuable. But when you add a rare minting error, you're no longer talking about pocket change, you're talking about something museum-worthy. And the best part? These coins aren't hidden away in private collections. They're out there. In drawers, in piggy banks, in coin jars all across the country. You could walk into a store today, get a quarter as change, and unknowingly be handed a miniature fortune. So the next time you get change at the gas station, or find a coin on the sidewalk, take a closer look. Is the image slightly off-center? Does it look a little thicker than usual? Are there strange marks or doubling in the letters? These are the signs you're holding something special. It's amazing how a tiny mistake at the U.S. Mint can transform an everyday object into a sought-after treasure. That's the magic of coin collecting, and that's why we love sharing these incredible stories with you. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. If you happen to find a 2017 United States Washington State quarter dollar with a rare minting error, in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially one featuring a W mint mark, double die, or off-center strike, you could be looking at a coin valued at $92,000, yes, you heard that right, $92,000 for a single quarter that might be hiding in plain sight. So don't forget to check your change, dig through your old jars, and take a second look at that stack of coins on your desk. The next great discovery could be sitting right under your nose. Today, we're uncovering the fascinating secrets of a coin that many people use every day without a second thought, the 2013 Washington State quarter dollar. You may have one in your pocket right now, but after watching this video, you'll never look at that coin the same way again. Now, when we talk about coins from 2013, it's easy to assume they're too recent to be valuable. But here's the thing, it's not always about how old a coin is, it's about what makes it different. And this coin? It's different in all the right ways. Let's rewind to 2013. That year, the U.S. Mint was in full swing with its America the Beautiful Quarters program, an ambitious series that honored national parks and historic sites across the country. For the state of Washington, they chose Mount Rushmore National Memorial for the 2013 quarter design. Yes, you heard that right, Washington State was honored with a design that actually depicts part of the famous Mount Rushmore monument, specifically focusing on the carving process, giving us a rare behind-the-scenes look at one of America's most iconic landmarks. The reverse of the coin is striking. You see a sculptor working on George Washington's face on the mountain. It's not just a tribute to the monument, it's a tribute to the effort, the craftsmanship, and the story behind it. On the obverse, of course, remains the timeless portrait of George Washington, anchoring the coin with the dignity and history we associate with U.S. currency. But what really makes the 2013 Washington quarter stand out isn't just its artistic design, it's the unexpected treasures hiding among a handful of these coins. And this is where things get exciting. Among the millions of quarters minted that year, a small number slipped through the cracks with some incredibly rare characteristics. These are known as minting errors or varieties, and they're pure gold for collectors. Some of these errors were so subtle that most people didn't even notice them. But to the trained eye of a coin expert, they are unmistakable, and extremely valuable. Let's talk about double die errors first. These occur when the coin is struck more than once, slightly misaligned. The result? A ghosted image or overlapping letters and numbers, especially in the words, "In God We Trust," or the year, 2013. It might look like a printing glitch to the average person, but to a collector, that's a jackpot. Another type of error that adds big value is the off-center strike. Imagine the coin being punched off to one side, so that the image is no longer perfectly centered. Sometimes the design is so skewed that part of it is cut off completely. The more dramatic the off-center strike, and the more of the date that remains visible, the more valuable the coin. Let's not forget the die break errors, which can cause raised lines or cracks on the coin's surface. These lines aren't damage, they're rare signs of a failing die at the mint, and they make every coin with them one of a kind. And then there are the ultra-rare surprises, wrong planchet errors. That means the quarter was struck on a coin blank meant for a completely different denomination, like a nickel or even a foreign coin. The weight will feel off, and the coin may have a duller or shinier finish than usual. These kinds of minting mix-ups are the holy grail for collectors, and they fetch massive amounts at auctions. Now, there's another factor that plays a huge role in a coin's value: condition. In the world of coin grading, the higher the grade, the higher the value. If your 2013 Washington quarter is in mint state condition, meaning it has no wear, no scratches, and a flawless surface, it's already worth more than face value. But pair that condition with one of the rare errors we just mentioned, and you're looking at a coin that's not just valuable, it's exceptional. And here's what makes this story truly exciting. Most of these coins weren't released with fanfare. They entered circulation like any other quarter. That means they could be sitting in cash registers, vending machines, or your very own change jar. You don't have to be a professional collector or attend fancy auctions to find one, you just need to know what to look for. So here's your challenge. The next time you receive change, don't toss those quarters aside. Take a moment. Look closely at the coin's design. Check the edges. Inspect the date. Compare the details. You might just stumble upon a piece of modern treasure that most people will never recognize. That we live in a world where treasure doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your hand. And that's the thrill of coin collecting. And now, for the part you've been waiting for. If you happen to find a 2013 Washington State quarter dollar with a rare mint error, preserved in mint condition, and authenticated by a coin grading service, you could be looking at a coin valued at $88,000, yes, that's right, $88,000. All from a humble quarter that was once worth just 25 cents. So what are you waiting for? Go check your pockets, your drawers, and those old coin jars in the kitchen. You might already be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Today's episode will take you on a journey through one of the most surprisingly valuable pieces of modern pocket change, the 2014 Washington State quarter dollar. At first glance, it may seem like just another quarter. After all, it's only a decade old. It's probably passed through vending machines, coffee shops, and gas stations more times than we can count. But believe it or not, this seemingly ordinary coin hides a remarkable story, and for a few lucky people, it could be the key to an unexpected fortune. Let's start with a little background. In 2014, as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, the U.S. Mint released several quarters featuring national parks and historic sites across the country. The coin tied to Washington State features Olympic National Park, one of the most breathtaking and ecologically diverse parks in the entire United States. With its majestic mountains, lush rainforests, and untamed coastline, it's no wonder the park earned a place of honor on this collectible series. The reverse of the 2014 quarter showcases a Roosevelt elk standing proudly in the Hoh River rainforest, framed by the towering Mount Olympus in the background. This scene captures the spirit of the Pacific Northwest, wild, resilient, and awe-inspiring. It's not just a design, it's a tribute to America's natural beauty. On the obverse side of the coin, as always, we find the classic profile of George Washington, the nation's first president. But here's where things start to get interesting. Not all 2014 quarters were struck equally. While millions were minted, only a tiny fraction carry the traits that drive collectors absolutely wild. Let's talk about what sets these rare quarters apart from the rest. One of the most sought-after traits among collectors is minting errors. These are unintentional mistakes that happen during the coin's production process, errors that transform an everyday coin into a rare and highly desirable collector's item. And guess what? The 2014 Washington quarter has a few surprises in this department. Some versions of this coin were struck with double dies, especially visible in the lettering on Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date itself. The letters may appear slightly doubled or shadowed. This isn't damage, it's a printing anomaly that increases the coin's rarity and value dramatically. There are also coins with off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned. In extreme cases, part of the image or even the edge lettering may be missing. These quirky, one-of-a-kind flaws are considered treasures in the coin world. Another possible error found on this quarter is the die clash. That's when the design elements from the obverse and reverse sides press into each other due to a misfire at the mint. This results in ghost-like impressions that shouldn't be there, something only a trained eye might notice, but once discovered, can significantly boost the coin's appeal and value. But it's not just about errors. Even a standard 2014 quarter can become valuable if it's found in exceptional condition. Coins that are graded as mint state, MS 67 or higher, meaning they've never been in circulation and show zero wear, are rare in themselves. The reason? Most of these quarters went directly into circulation, getting scratched, handled, and worn over time. Finding one that's pristine is like finding a needle in a haystack. And then there's the elusive possibility of a wrong planchet error, a quarter struck on a blank meant for another denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. These types of coins look and feel a little different and often slip by unnoticed by the untrained eye. But if you happen to spot one, it could be the crown jewel of your collection. Now you might be wondering, why are collectors so obsessed with these coins? Why all the hype over a simple 25-cent piece? It's because these quarters tell a bigger story. They represent a unique moment in American history, nature, and craftsmanship. They're physical pieces of the country's artistic, technological, and economic narrative. And for a few lucky people, they represent something else entirely, a life-changing opportunity. So, here's what you should do. Check your change. Look through that old coin jar sitting on the shelf. Ask friends and family if they've got any quarters from 2014 lying around. Examine them under a magnifying glass, check the details, and pay attention to any signs of doubling, off-center images, or unusual markings. You never know what you might find, because here's the truth: if you're lucky enough to discover one of these rare 2014 Washington State quarters, one with a rare mint error, or in flawless, uncirculated condition, it could be worth far more than its face value. How much more? You might want to sit down for this. A single 2014 Washington State quarter dollar with the right combination of rarity, condition, and error traits has sold to collectors for as much as $86,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. $86,000 for a single quarter. That's the kind of story that turns casual collectors into serious treasure hunters. And that's why we do what we do, because every coin has a secret waiting to be discovered. Today, we're spotlighting a coin that many people pass over without a second thought, but it might just be the key to unlocking a small fortune. We're talking about none other than the 2015 Washington State quarter dollar, a modern coin with a surprising story and the potential to be worth far more than just 25 cents. Now, you may be thinking, 2015? That's not even that long ago. And you're right. But that's exactly what makes this coin so exciting. Unlike ancient coins or silver dollars from centuries past, this one could still be sitting unnoticed in your pocket, a coin jar, or even inside your car's cup holder. The incredible part? If you know what to look for, this modern coin might just change your life. Let's rewind for a moment and talk about what makes the 2015 Washington quarter so unique. First, it's part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a historic initiative launched by the U.S. Mint in 2010 to honor national parks and landmarks across the United States. In 2015, several designs were released, and one of them honored Saratoga National Historical Park, but depending on the mint location and batch, some of the Washington quarters issued that year for circulation in Washington State carried errors and rare die varieties that sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world. The front side of the coin, also called the obverse, features the timeless image of George Washington, just like all quarters have since 1932. But what's fascinating is how certain 2015 coins reveal striking errors in this classic portrait: doubled inscriptions, faint outlines, or off-centered prints that aren't part of the intended design. It gets even more exciting when we flip the coin to look at the reverse side. One of the 2015 quarters depicts the moment of surrender at Saratoga between British General John Burgoyne and American General Horatio Gates, an iconic piece of Revolutionary War history. But in certain rare examples, this side of the coin contains anomalies, missing letters, ghosted features, or even clashes from the obverse image. These aren't mistakes you'd notice at first glance. But under a magnifying glass or in proper lighting, the unusual details start to emerge. And to a seasoned collector or a lucky enthusiast, these tiny imperfections turn the coin into a goldmine. So, what causes these rare errors? It often comes down to the minting process itself. Coins are mass-produced using powerful machines that strike coin blanks with engraved dies. If the die shifts, wears down, or is misaligned, even slightly, it can produce coins with doubling, missing features, or striking on the wrong metal blank, called a planchet. These mint errors are incredibly rare and virtually impossible to replicate, making them highly desirable among collectors. And let's not forget condition. While errors add a layer of rarity, coin grading also plays a huge role in determining value. Coins are graded from 1 to 70, with higher numbers representing better condition. A grade of MS 67 or MS 68 means the coin is in mint state, with nearly flawless surfaces and sharp details. A 2015 Washington quarter with an error in high-grade condition? Now that's something truly exceptional. So, How can you tell if your 2015 Washington quarter is special? Start by checking the basics. Look for any doubling on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." Examine the date closely. Do the numbers look slightly shadowed or misaligned? Inspect both the front and back for any unusual textures, missing features, or elements that seem out of place. Finally, look at the coin's mint mark, a tiny letter near Washington's ponytail that indicates where it was made. Coins with a D for Denver or P for Philadelphia may have slight variations or errors, depending on the mint batch. If you suspect you have something unique, consider getting your coin professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. These experts can confirm the authenticity and rarity of your coin, and in some cases, your quarter could become the next headliner at a major coin auction. It's mind-blowing to think that something as ordinary as a quarter could carry such extraordinary value. And yet, this happens more often than you might believe. Collectors are constantly searching for hidden rarities in circulation. Every so often, one of these modern-day coins surfaces with just the right combination of rarity, condition, and error, sending its value soaring. So, before you spend that next quarter at a vending machine, take a moment to check the date. Pull out a magnifier, take a close look, and pay attention to the details. That simple habit could lead you to your next great discovery, because believe it or not, one of these elusive 2015 Washington State quarter dollars, featuring the right minting error and preserved in exceptional condition, has been valued by collectors at a jaw-dropping $78,000. Yes, you heard it correctly. $78,000 for a coin that most people wouldn't think twice about spending on a soda. Amazing, right? So go ahead, check your change, explore those old jars, and dig through that forgotten drawer. You never know when you'll uncover a coin that tells a story, and makes you richer in the process. Today, we're diving into a coin that may look ordinary at first, but is actually hiding a secret, one that could make it worth far more than just 25 cents. I'm talking about the 2020 Washington State quarter dollar, a coin that's part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, and one that might just have a story and value you weren't expecting. At first glance, this modern quarter might seem like nothing special, but don't be fooled. Coins from the 2020 series have become a subject of much fascination among collectors, and there are some key reasons why this particular coin could be hiding a major surprise. Let's start with the basics. In 2020, the U.S. Mint released a series of quarters that featured national parks and historical landmarks from around the country. But, unlike many other quarters that focused on older landmarks, the 2020 Washington State quarter was unique. It honored the Washington crossing the Delaware design, which celebrates the famous moment when General George Washington led his troops across the icy Delaware River during the American Revolution. This moment is not only pivotal in U.S. history but also iconic in the imagery of Washington's leadership. Now, this quarter is part of a well-known, long-running program, but here's where things get interesting. Like all coins, some quarters from the 2020 series were struck with errors or went through unusual production processes. You might be wondering what exactly makes these Washington State quarters from 2020 so valuable. One major factor is minting errors. Mint errors happen during the production process, where something goes wrong with the machinery or the coin's design is slightly misaligned. This is actually what can make a coin incredibly valuable. As we've seen in the world of numismatics, small errors in modern coins can create a huge difference in price. These errors could range from things like double dies, where the coin's design appears twice or even more, off-center strikes, or even missing details in the design. The 2020 Washington State quarters with errors are particularly sought after. If you find a quarter that's slightly off-center, or has unusual doubling, it could be the key to unlocking a rare and valuable piece of American history. The more dramatic the error, the higher the coin's value. And while finding these rare errors can be challenging, the payoff could be well worth the hunt. But, it's not just about errors. Coin condition plays a huge role in determining a coin's worth. The key here is that many of these quarters were released into circulation, meaning most of them are not in perfect condition. The ones that are well preserved, free from scratches, dents, and wear, can skyrocket in value. These pristine, uncirculated quarters are much rarer than you might think, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. When it comes to value, collectors are particularly interested in coins that have remained mint state or proof-like, coins that have never been handled by the public and still show their original luster. A coin that's kept in pristine condition for years, free from wear and tear, can be considered a true treasure in the world of numismatics. But how do you spot a valuable 2020 Washington State quarter among the regular ones in circulation? Well, here's where things get even more interesting. If you're not familiar with the terms, you should know that coins are graded based on their quality and condition. The grading scale goes from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 are considered to be in excellent condition and can fetch a premium price in the market. A coin with a minting error, in high grade, can be worth far more than you might expect. And it doesn't just stop there. Some 2020 quarters have been known to have unusual variations in their edge design, or even subtle imperfections in the material itself. If the metal composition isn't quite what it's supposed to be, or if there's any noticeable misprint in the wording or image, these things could boost the coin's value to astonishing heights. And here's the best part: while finding a rare mint error or a coin in excellent condition is no easy task, it's not impossible. Many collectors have spent years tracking down elusive specimens. And just because the coin is modern doesn't mean it can't hold significant value. In fact, a lot of recently minted coins, like this 2020 Washington State quarter, are becoming some of the most valuable to collect. So, how much could a 2020 Washington State quarter be worth? Well, this is where it gets truly exciting. If you're lucky enough to find a 2020 quarter with a rare minting error or in perfect, uncirculated condition, it could be worth up to a staggering $74,000. Yes, you heard me right, $74,000 for a single quarter. That's the kind of potential a small coin can have if you know where to look and what to look for. Whether it's a subtle error or an immaculate coin in perfect condition, the value of these quarters could change the game for collectors. So, take a moment to dig through your change, check your coin jars, and look carefully at every 2020 Washington State quarter you come across. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on future numismatic discoveries. And if you found a rare coin in your collection, let us know in the comments. Who knows, your find could be worth more than you think. Thanks for watching, happy collecting, and remember, every coin could be the next big one.